that one from amongst us stepped to the center of the communicative platform and said, today's topic is divine love. How it will be experienced and shared. And then the dialogue went on. The speaker said, divine love will be shared by two who will travel a straight line, of course, called the Soroto Mustad what? King. A straight and narrow what? Path. Watch now. And ultimately, it is inevitable that those two will soon have to come to face a force field called a wall. And if they are to survive, they must make an adjustment in their direction, turning to the right at a 90-degree angle. Why? Because the one, men will say they must make an adjustment in direction. They also had to make an adjustment in mindset, meaning the one would have to then take on yet what? Another. Where you, brother, would have to get a new wife. You, sister, would have to get a new husband. Because the mentality that was being described in triple darkness at that very instant was, the reason being is because if not, the individual self will cease to exist and will thereby die. And the reason by which you must make an adjustment in direction is so that you can survive. Why? Because if not, it is inevitable that the individual self will no longer exist by having been absorbed one by the other. And this is so because all things must come to what? An end. And in this, the square was then born. The political symbol of the what? Square. Because it said in the center of that square existed 360 degrees of information, meaning the knowledge of all what? Things. And they said, and this is how the square so dictates it, so as it is spoken, so shall it be, is, and always will continue to be, because all things must come to an end. And this adjustment is a necessity in direction. Then there was a voice that said, no. You are in manifest what? Error. Because divine love is not shared in that capacity. Divine love does not travel a straight and narrow what? It's traveling along a curvature that is in turn turning, that will then start to return to its starting point. And from there, it will expand and spiral upward. And this is so, as the circle so dictates. For if I say I love you here today, and then along the course of that journey, at any place or any time I say, I love you, but I am no longer in love with you, then that is a statement made in manifest error. Because if you love me and you are no longer in love with me, then that means you lied to me from the very start. When you first said that you love me. And love comes from the heart center. And love produces a sound that cannot be duplicated. Because in the dark, though we sat there in triple darkness, those who said they loved one another, it was as real could what? Be. Because you could not listen duplicate love's signature. Love's signature comes by way of a what? Sound. And you hear it when you're making what? Listen, when you're making love, you hear it. And those sounds, listen, are exuberating the fact that you are loving what you are what? And no one can perpetrate the fraud in that capacity. So, this is how the circle so dictates, and this is how the circle says it is, was, and will continue to be. And for in the center of the circle is 360 degrees of knowledge, which is the knowledge of all what? Things. And this discussion went from being a discussion, a mere discussion, amongst all parties in the what? All. Because keep in mind, we were in triple what? There was no... listen, like, okay, first though, and in that triple darkness existed a thing. Unadulterated divine peace at its pristine purity right up until this topic came to the center of the communicative platform. For it was this topic that went from a mere, listen, topic of discussion to rise in its vibrational what? Frequency, thereby, listen, becoming an argument of those who supported the view of the squares, listen, against those who supported the view of the circle. And this discussion heightened in its vibration, and for the very first time we experienced a thing called heat, which came through the friction and the vibration of it what? All rising. And then in one instant we heard a sound. Bang! And the lights came what? And you had 550 billion, listen, etheric light beings who, listen, were burning. Watch now. And they continued to, listen, talk in terms of the topic, reaching yet a higher what? Degree. And then you heard the sound again. Bang! And that was H2 burning at 500 billion, right? Because those are 500 billion etheric what? Beings who are still burning right what? Right now. Okay? Now watch. And a degree is something you earn by virtue of information properly consumed. But it is also a temperature. You see? Because you put the TV dinner in the oven and turn the oven to 350 what? Degrees. So again, a degree is something that is earned through proper consumption of information. Okay. So again, the H1 and the H2 and the circle and the square coming together. Listen, as Baba described it to you all in your holy tablets, none of you ever took the time to say, well, okay, how can two geometrical